Let's give the our technical definition, if you will, for emotional weightlifting in our body work. Again, we say this is the skill and practice that enables each of us to truly utilize and benefit from our emotions in a way that allows us to feel strong, empowered, and complete.
Yes. And that our emotional experience or our emotional bodies, we would say, we talked about having a physical body and an emotional body, and these are very real aspects of ourselves. And the kicker is the emotional body is always running the show. That we act, our behavior is driven from the emotional side of ourselves. And so if we say, oh, I don't do that emotional thing, well, the emotional experiences you have had in your past are driving your show. You're not allowing yourself to go certain places because you're afraid of what's going to happen in the emotional experience of it all. You feel like you lose control. Now, our emotional selves, right? I get it. They're scary. They can be very scary, especially when we don't talk about them. We don't understand them. We judge them because they are intangible. They are invisible and they will time travel on us, right? They do
It's
that.
almost unfair.
Well, yes and no, but it's also this emotional ability that we love when we have moments that matter to us or that tingle our toes, as we say in our work. It's our emotional bodies, right? We love to be taken back to a moment or a memory that we love and that makes us feel good. We have to remember it's the same aspect of ourselves that does that. We also need to remember that as we're navigating life step by step, which is what I highly recommend, and we'll talk about that another time, but we need to navigate our experiences in life as we go because of the experiences that we're having are going to help us navigate it. Now, I had mentioned and touched on this a little earlier, but let me highlight it again here. Our physical bodies and our emotional bodies are our navigation system. And unfortunately, most of us as human beings, we navigate kind of with one half of it. We're either very logical, we like to think things through and use our brains, and we totally negate the emotional experience. And if we're emotional creatures, we get drowning in the emotional experience and totally negate our ability to utilize our logic, our brains, our thinking, our strategy. And depending on what side of that coin you're on, each side is judging the other. And we're constantly trying to enroll the other person into being more logical or more emotional. No, be more logical because it makes more sense. No, you need to be more emotional. You need to be in touch with your feelings without realizing each and every one of us as a human being need to develop the capacity to do both. That if we operate just on one side of the equation, we are really limiting the awesomeness of our navigation system. So, let me give you an example. If I were to take a step forward when it makes sense and it feels right or good for me, I take a step. If either one of those are missing, I need to pause and contemplate this a little while longer. How many of us, just because of the logic or the strategy of it, charge forward thinking that we have this whole thing figured out, only to find ourselves in a place where I'm arriving home thinking I've done all the right things and the person that I love the most has moved out? Happens all the time. Why? Because I wasn't in a place where I could emotionally show up. There was a nothing available of me emotionally to keep the relationship alive.
I would
And
say, let me just stack on that. The classic story that we hear where, whichever person of the partnership or the marriage or relationship was, say, the provider, and they're working very, very hard, lots of hours, and they're, doing everything they can to provide a high level, say, of financial success, but yet they're not there emotionally. That person's like, well, what the heck, man? Come on, I was doing everything. We've got the house and the furniture and the lifestyle, and that I'm paraphrasing here,
yeah,
the person on the other side that has, checked out
bailed.
because they never got any of that person on the feeling side of life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I can go, yes, absolutely. And it can flip the other side. What about the person who's just a complete emotional hot mess all the time and we can't ever plan and strategize about that trip or building that house or investing things or experiencing things like we talked about in the beginning. You just can't pull it together long enough for us to get there. That's an extreme example of drowning in the emotional side of ourselves. Again, we need to develop both. One is not superior than the other. We need both in order to navigate to our best selves throughout life.